What's up, family? My name is Jimmie Scott Jr. and in today's video, I want to help you by answering the question, have you made money your God? Have you made money your God? You know, I think sometimes there are some of you out there that think about that question, and I know that's something that none of us wants to do, because acknowledging that would mean that we have now put money above God. But we may be doing things in our pursuit of money in error, and we may be putting money above God when that shouldn't be the case. So hopefully at the end of this video you will walk away with a clear understanding of how to analyze your life and maybe look at your priorities of how you view money and your finances to ensure that you have not put money above God. Now, I want to start with the most infamous verse that directly correlates to money that a lot of us as Bible readers know, which is coming from 1 Timothy chapter 6, and it talks about the love of money. It tells us that the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. There's a very big misconception to that verse and the meaning behind that verse, because some people interpret the verse and leave out very key concepts and texts that really change the meaning of the verse. And so the way that people perceive the verse is they take love of money out and they just say money. Money itself is the root of all evil. This is how the verse has been interpreted, misinterpreted, and conceptualized in the hearts of some, is money is the root of all evil. Meaning that money itself is the beginning point of all the evil in the world. I know that's not how people usually think, but that is what you are generally speaking of when you say money is the root of all evil. You mean that money is the root of killings, money is the root of theft, money is the root of divorce, money is the root of people not believing in Jesus, money is the root. You're saying money is the root, when the Bible clearly tells us that sin itself is the root of all evil. It is the sin that is imbued with us. Because if you go back to the creation with Adam and Eve, there was no money. Money, it wasn't money that made Adam bite off fruit of the forbidden tree. It wasn't money. So money itself is not the root. But as you can see, when you take certain context, when you take certain texts out of a verse, you can very easily misinterpret the original meaning of the verse. So we want to be careful that we don't do that as we read scripture. So going back to the original context, the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. It is the love of money. So what I want to do first, before we get into the verse and kind of break that down, I want to open your mind to what money is in its simplest form. Because sometimes we kind of get beyond ourselves when it comes to money, how money works, what money is for, and why God allowed money to be created in the first place. Because money itself has went through so many transitions of what currency is. I mean, we went from silver and gold and myrrh and frankincense and all these type of spices and things like that in the Bible to printed money and paper. Even before printed money and paper, we had coins and certificates, bonds, things like that, right? So the equivalent of money, or the exchange, right, goods and services, and the currency that is used as proof of the exchange, that's all money is. It's the currency used as proof of an exchange, has changed over time. You know, certificates, coins, paper, frankincense, goods. Some people used to exchange goods for services instead of using a currency as proof. It used to just be goods. I'll give you a piece of bread and you give me some beans. I will build your house if you will work in my land. Things like that. You know, people used to exchange knowledge instead of just money. Hey, I will give you knowledge if you give me horses. Things like that. And so let's break money down to its purest form and simplest form so we can then know and have a good understanding about it first before we move on to the verse. So what is money? Money itself is, like we just talked about, it's the currency to show the proof of an exchange of goods and services. So in order for you to know that I have this car and I own it, is that I exchange money with someone. Money is my proof. Other than that, right, how will you know I own this car? You could probably easily think that there was some illegal activity at play, right? Or you would think someone gifted me the car, right? If we're going towards gifts. But for the most part, if we want goods or services, it is for money. Money is the proof that we have these things or that we do these things, right? We go to work to make money so that we can buy goods and services to survive, because nothing is free, not even water. The most basic element on this planet isn't even free. Not even water is free. So nothing is free. Water isn't free, food isn't free, clothes aren't free, a place to live isn't free, nothing is free. And so money is the wedge of proof to show that we own it, basically. And money in its simplest form of the direction of it is supposed to be given, okay? It is a current. It's called currency because it moves. It's not just supposed to sit. Money moves. And you have to be smart with money, and you have to be smart about how money moves. A lot of us are not smart when it comes to how money moves. And this is what leads us to making money our God. If that has happened to you, or you know people who have made money their God, is because they don't realize that money is supposed to move. Now, I'm not saying that to say money, you're just supposed to spend all your money on frivolous things. That is not why God allowed us to have currency or a flow. It's not just so you can just buy for yourself and your family and just buy things. Some people, that's all they do with their money is buy things. That's all they do. Every time they get paid, they buy things. They never think about using their money to help others. It's always on things. What can I buy today or tomorrow that I can own for myself? That is usually most people's thought process about money, and that will lead us into our topic about making money our God. So now that we have a nice understanding about money, and I hope that clears some things up for you, now we can go into the verse. Loving money, the love of money. What happens when we love money? Because as the verse says, it leads us into all kinds of evil. And there is a lot of evil in the world that the love of money could lead you to. We know that when you love something, you sacrifice for it. If you love your children, you sacrifice your life for it. For God so loved the world, right? John 3:16, that he gave his only begotten son. God loved the world so much that he gave us Jesus, and him giving us Jesus was giving us his son in sacrifice. That's just how much he loved us, that he was willing to die for us. So we know that love can go to the extreme extents of death. And it goes to that point by any means necessary. Even if you equate it to Jesus. By any means necessary, even though it was already predestined and planned by God, and it was in his will for Jesus to die on the cross, it was still going to happen by any means necessary exactly the way God had planned for it to happen. So we know that Jesus was going to die for us by any means necessary. And I know that's a kind of finite way of thinking about that. But to equate that to money and loving money, people will attempt to get money by any means necessary, even if that means death. So people murder for money, people steal for money, people cheat for money. There is a very heavy dosage of greed as it resorts to money. People are very greedy. There's never enough to go around for people because people always want more so they can buy more stuff. People want stuff. This is a big reason why people want money, is so they can buy stuff and have fame and have others looking and at them for attention on them, whether they consciously know this or subconsciously know this. They want to keep up with a particular status. There's a particular status and way that people want to look in society. People want to look wealthy. People want to appear wealthy. People want to have nice things, and not all people, but some people want to have nice things so that they can keep up with others who have nice things, so they can be a part of that tier status group of those who have money. They want to be recognized as someone who has money and can buy stuff. So people fall in love with the pursuit of money. People fall in love with the passions of money and what money can do for them. And they take away the truth behind the power of money and what money is originally created, or currency is originally created for. Remember that money is supposed to flow. Means that money is supposed to be given. Why is money supposed to be given? Money is supposed to be given because God realizes that us as human beings on this planet need that proof in order for us to survive. If businesses didn't pay people, then people wouldn't have money to buy survival basic necessities. If I didn't go to work and the job didn't pay me, then I wouldn't be able to provide for my family. That's the basic essence of it. Means that that business can't just make money from other people and then hold it and not pay me. It has to flow from them as well. Money flows through businesses, money flows through people, money flows through everything. And when there's not enough money, you know what happens? They create more money. This is how we get stimulus checks. They make money out of thin air and put it into the atmosphere so we can have more proof of things. So money, right? Loving money being the root of all kinds of evil. What are those evils? Those evils are greed. People are very greedy. Cheating. People will cheat for money to get money. People will steal money and take from other people. People will murder for money. All these people will lie for money to get money in their pursuit of money. Even to keep money. People will do these same things in order to keep money. When money should be given. Money should be flowing. Right? Some of the most successful people, godly successful people, smart people, realize that it's not about holding on to money. Money should go somewhere, and it should all go to stuff. Money should be invested to help make someone else's lives better, or to help build a business and make it better. And in return of doing so, people repay you. It's a cycle, right? If I give money to help you grow your business when you are dead broke, then when you make money, it would be generous and kind enough for you to give me a percentage of the money you made on top of what I loaned to you to help you, right? If you give me seeds to plant in my garden so that I may have food to eat, then it is only customary, generous, merciful, graceful loving, that I also not only give you food, but give you 10 times more because you provided something to me when I had nothing. It is only gracious and loving enough to bless you tenfold because of the gratitude that I have of you sharing your money or your seeds in this manner and your love with me in the time of my need when I had nothing. That is the thought process of exchange, and that is the thought process of love that God has us and wants us to think about as it resorts to exchanging currency, a flow, right? That is how you move a current. Currents don't just stay. So those are the roots of all kinds. Money, the love of money leads to the root of all kinds of evil in all of those different evils. And so now let's transition about realizing or understanding and asking ourselves the question, have we made money our God? How do you know if you've made money your God? You will know if you've made money your God if you have become a jealous person over money. If you start looking at how much money other people got and you're not gracious enough over what you have, and you become jealous enough to where it leads you to want to do evil things like stealing or killing or cheating people and doing things without integrity. You will know that you have made money your God when your pursuit of money is not rooted in giving, but it is rooted in taking. Again, money is a currency that is supposed to be exchanged to help others and make others' lives better. And I'm not saying that you can't use money to grow yourself, because you growing yourself is you developing yourself to contribute to society, right? I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is your money should be used in that manner with a heart of giving, whether it's you developing yourself to give yourself, or it's you giving the money, physically giving the money to others, or you investing the money into a cause, or you investing your money into a business, or you thinking about your children, or you thinking about your family, or whatever the case is. Your money is supposed to be used to be given and to flow through you in some form of fashion that will contribute to society and contribute to your economy. It is not to be hoarded. It is not to be buried, as the story goes in the Bible of the master giving his money to his servants and telling them to use that money and be good stewards over it. One of the servants buried the money and didn't make good use of it at all because they didn't know how the master would think about it and they didn't want to lose it. Well, that's not the right way to look at money, right? Money can be used and you could make more of it. So, number one, your view of money needs to be re-evaluated. How do you view money? Do you view money only as something that you need to take and gain and hoard for yourself and for your family? Or do you view money in a giving manner, one in which you understand that it's not yours to begin with, that money belongs to God, money came from God, God blessed you with it, and that you should be using it to glorify Him? Do you use your money to glorify God, or do you use your money to glorify your own life? Which one? Which one do you do? Do you build your mansion next to the homeless man on the street that has no house? That's very deep. Let me say that one more time. I think I need to say that one more time because that is very deep. Do you build your mansion next to the homeless man who has no home? Think about that. Think about how you use your money. Think about the call of stewardship that God has given you over your money. Another way that you can notice if money has become your God is your desire to do any means necessary to obtain it, right? If you get to the point where you are willing to do anything for money, then that means that you have now put money above trusting God, and you have now put money above having faith in God, because you're willing to go on your own volition and think and listen to your own understanding versus trusting in the Lord to provide all of your needs. Bible tells us that if God could take care of the fowls of the air and the lilies of the field, then what more won't he do for his children? What more won't he do for you? But that means if you've decided that God ain't moving fast enough, or if God isn't providing enough money for you, then you need to take things in your own consideration and do them yourself. And a lot of times we do these things without prayer. A lot of times we move in our own volition without thought, without planning, without seeking God, and we move forward. And that's not a good place to be, and that's not a good way when it comes to being a good steward over money, is doing any means necessary to obtain it. That is not good. That usually doesn't end well, because it defaces your character. It defaces who you are as a person, and your reputation becomes ruined amongst men. People won't respect you for how low you go just to get the thing that God blesses us all with. Because people will then realize your incompetence about making money and your understanding of it. They will realize that. And then they will also realize that, and if as far as evil people go, evil people will realize that they could use you for gain for themselves because of your willingness to do anything to obtain money. They can use that against you and use you as a slave and enslave you to money. Not only will you then love money, but then you will become enslaved to money. And that leads me into the next verse that God talks about, is that you cannot serve two masters. You will either hate the one or love the other. You cannot serve two masters. And Matthew, I believe it's in the book of Matthew, and God was telling us that you cannot serve both God and money. And some people have come to the point to where they serve money. And if that's you today, if you've realized that, hey, I think I've been serving money. I think money has clouded my judgment of what's important in life. I think money has really taken a root into my life and has changed me to be jealous, to be greedy, to be prideful, to be lustful of murderous intent and theft and cheating. Money has changed my character and integrity of doing wrong things to get it. Maybe this is you today. Maybe you've realized that you have some of these things in your heart, or you've realized that these are some tendencies that you have. I would encourage you today, if you have made money your God, I would encourage you to repent today, to ask God for forgiveness of that, to ask God to clean your heart and renew your mind. You know, I would encourage you to seek God's face about your money that you currently have and what you ought to do with it and how you ought to use it. Because God is not against money or wealth. God is not against money, you having money. He is not against you being wealthy. He is not against it. If God were against it, then he would not have blessed King Solomon with wealth. If God were against it, King Solomon would not have lived as he lived. So God is not against money. God is not against wealth. Money itself is not the root of all evil. It is the love of money, the love of it. When you love it and you put it before God, that is what God is against. Because then you have then sacrificed money and made it an idol in your life. And God don't like other things before him, especially if he is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords over your life, and he is the sole provider of your life, the leader of your life, the head of your life, right? If he is all of these things and you are now saying he is not, then he is against that. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot. Only one master is over your life. Is it God or is it money? So if you found yourself in that position, repent. Ask God for forgiveness. Ask God to clean your heart. Ask God to renew your mind. Ask God to give you wisdom about money, to give you understanding about how money works. Ask God to do these things, and he will forgive you. God will forgive you. God will clean you. God will wash you with his blood. This is why Jesus died on the cross. It's because he knew that we would struggle and suffer through these things in sin, but he knew that it would be through him for us to be washed and clean and become holy and righteous again, so that we can understand truly how to live in this world and how we ought to be serving one another and loving one another, even as it resorts to our money. We often put money above a lot of things in life when money should fall in line with a lot of things in life. Money and joy, money and peace, money and forgiveness, money and love, money and mercy. A lot of these things that God teaches us on how to live, how to act, how to speak. He also teaches us how to use money. And money is not above any of those other things, because it all should be in alignment with God's will and how the Bible teaches us to use it. You learning about money should be no different than you learning how to forgive someone else that has wronged you. You understanding how to give your money and being a cheerful giver should be no different than you learning how to beware of false teachers, you learning how to love your neighbor, you learning how to embody the fruits of the Spirit. There's no difference. But for us, because money has been so tied to our survival here in this world, we have put the topic of money above marriage. We have put the topic of money above church. We have put the topic of money above a lot of things. And this is the biggest thing that has really controlled a lot of lives. Money, the topic of money. And we need to talk about it. We need to talk about the truth. Because we ought not be ashamed of making money our God if that has happened, because we know that Jesus died for us and that we could go to him. So again, if that has been you, then you ought to repent and go to God for forgiveness and allow him to rechange and reform your mind around money and your heart. So have you made money your God? Have you? And only you could be honest with yourself on that question of making money your God. I appreciate you for tuning in and joining me here today. If you really like this video and you want to see more content, please be sure to check out this next video, because in this next video, I want to teach you and help you on why you should trust God. And I want to share with you why I trust God, because trusting God is so important in this world, because it relieves the stress and the pressures from you being dependent upon money and changes it to you being dependent upon God. Grace and peace.